Alright, one more video and then we're calling it a night, okay? Okay. Jeremy, of the quartering fame, has made yet another video on Brie Larson. Let's see what he has to say about Brie.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and say it isn't so, Brie. You turned down Captain Marvel not once, not twice, but going on 3 times? How could...
Oh, he spelled get woke, go broke on the little thing back here. Jeremy, how many times have I had to explain to you that Captain Marvel was the 23rd highest grossing movie of all time? It was a huge hit. What will you stop memeing with this when the meme is a lie?
Could you have deprived us from you in the most iconic role ever? On top of that, I've actually got a good message in this video, so stay tuned to the end. I won't stick around too long, but news broke this weekend that Brie Larson had turned down the Captain Marvel role. And I want to remind all of you that I am a king simp for Brie Larson. I enjoy her.
God, Jeremy, this is personal. I shouldn't say this because we've watched some of the videos recently where he's been drinking a lot and he has some breakdowns and all that stuff. The like circles around his eyes just look so much darker than usual. I don't think he looks like he's doing great. I hope he's okay. As much as I hate Jeremy, like, I don't wish him ill in that way.
I've come to love her deeply. Look out for Brie. And as a fellow YouTuber now.
Hey, Lance. Yes, his 40-second video on Brie Larson, that was like last year. He's on video like 70 now. I counted them once. It's like, I think he's made over 60. I'm not exaggerating. I counted them on stream once.
No. I welcome her to the community because her content is amazing. Just one person and no production crew and no big Hollywood budgets at all. Just one person being totally like the rest of us getting...
Jeremy is just losing it. I swear. He's gonna be... The closing to Jeremy's life, if his life were a movie, it's gonna be him in a padded cell, smearing feces on the wall, spelling get woke, go broke, with a Captain Marvel plushie. Just like... It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be right after Captain Marvel 2 breaks $1 billion at the box office.
Put on YouTube trending on day 1. But anyway, Brie Larson turned down Captain Marvel and tried to make it in Thor and Iron Man 2. After her turn as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, both in her standalone introduction in the MCU and later in Avengers Endgame, it's hard to imagine anyone but Brie Larson in the signature role. I mean, maybe.
I think he talks about Brie Larson more than, like, actual Brie Larson fans. I like Brie Larson. I think she's a fine actress. I thought Room was a good movie. I liked Captain Marvel. It wasn't the best Marvel movie. I don't think so. I think that's probably Civil War. But, like, hey, like, it was a fun movie. It was cool seeing, like, Samuel L. Jackson in, like, the young face makeup. It was kind of cool. But, like, it's not worth making 60 videos over if you didn't like it.
Maybe. But as she's revealed in a new video on her recently started YouTube channel, but what would it be like to have everybody in media promote?
Do you guys think Jeremy thinks about Brie Larson than his wife? Like, do you think in his head, just in terms of brain real estate, is he like, Brie Larson, Brie Larson, Brie Larson, oh, my wife who went out for pizza without me, Brie Larson, Brie Larson, Brie Larson.
Promoting your YouTube channel. Boy, that would be pretty amazing. She's just like us, though. She started her YouTube. She initially turned down the role a few times. Quote, I remember getting the call when I was filming Kong Skull Island, and they said, Marvel is interested in you playing Captain Marvel. Recalls Larson in the video below. I was like, I can't do that. I have too much anxiety. That's too much for me. I don't think I could handle that. Now, like a personal shout out here, I deal with my own anxiety. I have to take pills every day for it. It sucks. But, I mean, I thought what was most interesting about this is that Marvel hand-picked Brie Larson. She never even auditioned for it.
Yeah, she had just come off like an Academy Award-winning performance. She looks a lot like Carol Danvers, so it makes sense. She's got like, in terms of like, and again, I've been reading a lot of comics recently. I'm going through the Miss Marvel series right now because I never really read it, because I just also got like the Avengers game that came out. It's all right, it's fun. So I started reading the Miss Marvel comics, and next I'm going to read some of the Captain Marvel stuff. But, like, from what I've seen of Captain Marvel, she seems to play a pretty good role. Honestly, I'm kind of excited for them to do Civil War 2, if they ever do, in the movies. Because in the comics in Civil War 2, Captain Marvel's a complete dick. So if they do that in the movie, and she plays like that Captain Marvel, it'll be hilarious. Seeing, like, Jeremy be like, see, I told you, she's evil! And it's like, well, Jeremy, it's a movie. She's playing kind of the bad guy. Like, whatever.
Marvel desperately wanted Brie Larson for the role and called her not once, not twice, but 3 times for the role. She then told her team to turn the role down, but a few months later, Marvel came knocking again. They were like, hey, they called again. Are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm too much of an introvert. That's way too big a thing for me. It's beyond my comprehension. I can't imagine turning down a film role as an actor, but that's neither here nor there.
Jeremy, what? You just said you understand anxiety and that you take medication for it. I could understand that, even as someone who's like an actor or an actress. Like, there's a difference between being in movies like Room, right? Or even like Kong Skull Island, which is a big action-y movie, but it's not part of like one of the biggest franchises in the world, you know? Like, the Marvel movies, if you're a star in one of them, you're immediately catapulted to like the top echelon of recognizable actors or actresses. That's a level of stardom most like celebrities don't reach. Like, look at, I mean, like Chadwick Boseman, for instance, who unfortunately passed away recently. I don't remember what else he had done prior to like Black Panther, but like he was in that, and he was so huge. Look at the outpouring of support after his unfortunate, untimely passing. Like, that kind of thing, it makes you part of a cultural phenomenon, you know? Marvel's like the biggest film franchise of all time, and you don't have to like the movies, that's fine. If you don't like them, I completely understand that. But it doesn't change the fact that they're like cultural touchstones. People watch these movies all the time, right? Like, if you're a star in this movie, everyone's gonna recognize you everywhere for the next 30 years. Like, let's say today, the Marvel movies stopped being popular and no one saw another one ever again. It doesn't change the fact that you're part of a huge franchise. It would be like being Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford. You walk down the street, people are going to be like, oh, you know, you're from the movie that everyone knows. That's huge. And if you have social anxiety, that could be a huge burden on you to have to deal with that for, like, the rest of your life. So, I don't know why you're mocking her for having reservations about it. If you, like you say, genuinely also understand social anxiety or anxiety in general, you should be able to understand why that would be something you'd be trepidatious about as a performer. There's one thing to be in a movie. It's another thing to be in one of the biggest movies ever made. And I'm not talking about, like, quality or anything. I get Marvel movies aren't the best movies, but they make the most money. They have a huge reach.
Finally, Marvel came back a 3rd time because, as Larson's explained, her team hadn't really turned them down. Every time I was telling them no, and I thought my team was telling them no, they were not. Because I think they were like, she would be.
Gaelic, thanks for continuing your subscription. 2-month streak. Oh no, I jumped into Jeremy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. I am doing well. Hope the same for you.
Great at this. Oh, and you were. Captain Marvel, probably one of the best all-time superheroes on film. Really nothing to
23rd highest grossing movie of all time. I liked it.
Even point out.
Let's see. Top grossing Marvel movies. Highest grossing Marvel movies by box office. Doon 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 doon. Let's see how high up on the list. Looks like there was 23 films on this list, and Captain Marvel is number 8. It's above the 50th percentile. It made $1.128 billion, Jeremy. Like, I get you didn't like the movie, and that's fine if you didn't like it. It's okay. But to act like it was just utter shit is delusional. It was not a bad movie. At worst, it's like bland Marvel origin story movie, but she was fine in it. I liked Captain Marvel. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Wrong with the film or the acting or the editing or anything in that film.
Thanks for coming to the stream, Sushi Mom.
Billion-dollar franchise. Captain Marvel 2 will probably make $2 billion.
It might make over $1 billion. It depends upon the state of the box office by then. It depends on how much, like, COVID and the closings and everything change box office in general, and how much after reopening it comes out. Like, Black Widow's probably not going to do very well when it does release in theaters, because it'll be one of the first movies to release after theaters open, and box office across the board is going to be slashed probably in half at least, and I'm saying at least. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jeremy and people like him, people who are part of, like, the fandom menace, of which Doomcock is a member, Nerdrotic, people like that, they're going to look at it and be like, look, Black Widow got woke and got broke, and the evidence that it got woke is going to be that Black Widow is a woman, and they're going to be like, see, it didn't make almost any money, and they're going to completely ignore the fact that it came out right after movie theaters opened and people still aren't comfortable going to them. So get ready for those hot takes.
Biggest grossing Marvel film ever. I'm certain of it. Even without men. You don't need men. It's interesting to me that Disney was this set on an actress. Is that normal?
Depending, probably. I'm sure they really wanted her because she just got off of, like, Room, which was a huge movie.
The actress goes on to say that part of her initial hesitancy also had to do with her inability to multitask. I'm on a job, I'm playing a character, I can't self-tape, I can't do anything like that. I can only do one job at a time. I'm embodying this character, so I can't think of anyone else. When Kong actually did wrap, Larson was able to take a meeting with Marvel, which included a pitch and a mock-up of her character's costume. That's so crazy to me. That maybe that's normal for Hollywood. I would have thought that, they would bring several people in on a role.
It would depend upon the role and who they want for it. If there's someone that they think is just, like, perfect, they're going to do that. That's not unheard of.
To figure out, like, who's the best fit. But apparently, Brie Larson had the right stuff.
Like, here's an example, and this is from TV, so it's a little different. But it's, like, a big franchise thing that you'd think they'd interview people. I think it was something along the lines of, oh boy, I don't remember if it was Christopher Eccleston or if it was Peter Capaldi, but they brought them in for the role of Doctor Who, which is, like, a huge, like, British sci-fi TV show. It's the longest running sci-fi show of all time. It started in 1962. And I really, really forget if it was Christopher Eccleston or Peter Capaldi. Either way, one of them came in and expected to do an audition, and really the person just talked to them about the role and said, like, I want you to do this. And they were surprised. They were surprised that, like, they weren't, like, there wasn't, like, an audition. They were just told, like, we want you for this role. Will you do it? And really it was more the production company, in this case BBC, pitching to them and trying to court them to come and be on this project. It might have been Eccleston, now that I'm thinking about it. Because this was when it was coming back for, like, years. So, because I think Russell T. Davies, who was the showrunner at the time, had seen him in some other stuff. There was this movie where Eccleston played, like, the second coming of Jesus, but he was, like, a working class guy, and it was, I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it, though. And I guess based on that, Russell T. Davies really wanted him for the Doctor. So, like, this happens. It's not, like, the most common thing in the world, but, like, certainly there are situations where studios or people who are, like, the casting director, whoever, really, really has their heart set on one person that they think is perfect for the role, and they'll not only bring them in and not audition them, but they'll actively try and pitch it to them, right? They're trying to court them to come onto the project more than they are trying to see if they're good enough to come onto the project, so.
Probably all those cool things she said about 40-year-old white guys.
He's so butthurt. Jeremy is so salty about the fact that Brie Larson doesn't give a shit about him, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Who comprise most of Marvel's audience. But that's...
No. Most of Marvel's audience are not 40-year-old white guys. Certainly not the 40-year-old part. Marvel movies are really popular amongst families because they're action movies that I think everyone can get behind. If you don't like them, I understand. But I'm saying in general public terms. Like, you know, they have jokes that are more for adults, but it's also got fun action stuff for the kids, and it's superheroes and all that kind of stuff. So they're big with families. They're big with teenagers because they're, again, fun little action movies. You can go with your friends and be obnoxious and talk to each other during the movie and annoy everyone else. But still, you'd have a good time, and I get that. 40-year-old dudes are not the major demographic for Marvel. They just aren't. I'm not saying they never have been. I'd argue that was probably more so the case during, like, Iron Man. But, like, nowadays, no. Most people who go and see Marvel movies are families, teenagers, 20-year-olds, some 30-year-olds with families, and again, 40-year-olds with families, and then a very slim number are 40-year-old white dudes with no families who just want to go for themselves. I'm not saying they don't exist in the audience, but they're certainly not the key demographic they're going for. You know why? 40-year-old white dudes don't buy as many toys, right?
It's neither here nor there. I was very moved by what they were trying to achieve and what they were talking about. It felt very progressive, Larson states. Thinking back to the early stages in casting process, I was very surprised by that, by the way. They were talking about feminism and the way they were handling it. We saw how they handled it. Remember they brought the prototypical D-bag, was like...
They always bring this up, the cockpit guy. This one thing, and they're like, this is, you know, it's like, hey, dude, that happens. You know that, right? Like, this isn't not representative of a thing that happens to women.
Like, hey, baby, you should smile some more.
Yeah, that's a thing that happens to women. Like, do you not understand that? Do you think they made it up for the movie?
Total own it.
It was literally a thing that you guys said during the production of the movie. People like you said that, and they were like, why isn't Captain Marvel smiling more? She looks so angry. You literally said this shit, Jeremy. You're just mad that the movie called you out on it.
Feminism 1, toxic masculinity negative, masculinity minus 69,420. They were all they were all female writers, a female director, and it was going to have as many female voices as possible. Imagine picking your jobs like this.
Jeremy, it's a movie about a female superhero written from the perspective of women. That's a good thing.
Larson began to consider the role, asking,
Jeremy, if we make a movie about 40-year-old alcoholic white men in failing marriages, I promise we'll call you first. You don't have to be so salty.
To meet with the writers so she could see what they were doing and whether the story made sense. That's a whole level of fame I never expected to participate in, says Larson, of the pitfalls of taking such a role. The only way this works is if I believe in the story and what the messaging was. What was the message of Captain Marvel? What was it exactly? As long as you have superpowers from space, you can achieve anything?
Did you miss the entirety of the movie? It wasn't exactly subtle with, like, the themes running through it and the fact that it was, like, it's not about, you know, how hard you hit. It's about being able to get up when you get hit. Almost like the Rocky Balboa themes, right? It's pretty obvious, but hey.
Even as a woman? As history shows, it was something Larson ultimately came completely on board with, as he left her excited to step in Danvers' flight suit. Danvers, sorry.
Honestly, someone says Paul Thomas Anderson should make a movie about the quartering. I really someday want there to be like a movie that's like a character study, and it'll probably be some time down the line because the general public won't understand what it's referencing. They will not understand like that they're referencing this, right? Antipodian squid with 100 bits. He didn't miss the entirety of the movie, Hannah. He was just too distracted. I see. A character study where it's a movie about, so it is not literally Jeremy. I don't want them to literally be like, this is the story of Jeremy Hambley. Like, I would like them to do a movie that's a character study about someone like this who does YouTube videos, reactionary, anti-feminist content, and then in the background, his life is just falling apart. Taxi driver, but for the quartering. Yes, basically. Yes. I would like to see that. I don't know when we would reach a point where that would make sense to enough of an audience, because, like, you show that to, like, a 50-year-old, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? But, like, I think enough people below a certain age, even if they don't watch Jeremy, they understand the concept of, like, weird adult person, like, being weird and reactionary over stuff like this. I think that'd be an interesting movie. Someone make that. Someone do that.
Become the first female hero to headline her own film, and she had totally earned it. Captain Marvel was, had bid their time as an ensemble cast member in all the previous Avengers films, and finally Captain Marvel was... Oh, wait.
Dude, do we need to talk about how Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and the Incredible Hulk all had solo movies first? Really?
Oh, no, that's not what happened? You just gave Captain Marvel a standalone film and...
You just gave Iron Man a standalone film? That'll never work. You just gave Captain America a standalone... Jeremy, how's that supposed to work? What? What? You want to do Avengers first and then do the individual movies? Like, are you a Warner Brothers executive? Is this how we got Batman v Superman?
Then force viewers to go see it as required reading for Endgame.
It's not required reading. What? You get it. If you missed the entirety of Captain Marvel, when she shows up in Avengers Infinity War, you're not going to be confused. You're going to be like, oh, it's like a super woman from space. She's got space stuff. She has super strength and can fly. Like, you'd get it. Basically, none of the Marvel movies are actually required reading. That's kind of what makes them work, weirdly. They give the illusion that you need to see all the movies to get what's going on, but you don't. You really don't. Every movie basically explains what's going on. And even if you don't know, like, exactly who the characters are, you could show someone Avengers, and they'd get it. They'd be like, oh, we got this guy, he's got, like, a robot suit. We got this guy, he's like an America guy or something. He's from World War II. They explain that in Avengers. We got this guy, he's Thor. I've heard of Thor. He's like a god of thunder. Okay. And Loki's like the brother of Thor. That's a general knowledge thing I think a lot of people know. You don't really need to see the other Marvel movies. You should, I think, because I think it gives more depth to the characters. Because, like, the Avengers movie doesn't have time to explain character motivations and stuff because so much is going on. You just gotta do. I think it adds to the experience, but you don't need to see any of them to understand the movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I misremembered. It was a big step for me embodying myself.
Like, for instance, Baja Blast didn't see Ant-Man prior to Civil War. But you get it. It's not hard to understand, right? Oh, he shrinks. He does shrink stuff. He shrinks and he grows. Okay, you get it. You get it. It's simple.
In believing that I could do anything, something so big, my confidence as a leader, and the belief in storytelling. Of course, she adds in the video that Captain Marvel wasn't the first time she'd gone for a part in the MCU, though it was certainly the biggest role she'd approached. She also auditioned for Iron Man 2 and Thor.
Okay, so Jeremy, they already have her audition tapes on file at Disney. So why do they need to audition her again, considering they already like her? Seems pretty simple to me. I wonder who she would have been in Iron Man 2. Black Widow, maybe? Maybe she wanted to be Black Widow. And then in Thor, maybe Jane Foster, or... Oh gosh, what's the name of the Lady Sif. Maybe Lady Sif? Not sure.
Though she didn't really state what characters they might have played as. Other projects she tried out for and didn't get were Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Good thing for her. Jennifer's Body, and even The Big Bang Theory. Could you imagine Brie Larson as Penny?
Oh God, does Jeremy like Big Bang Theory? Hey, I'm not gonna shame. Like whatever shows you want.
Would have been amazing. God, Big Bang Theory has done more to damage nerddom than any single thing in history.
I don't know about that. I think you're overstating the influence of just some bad sitcom. Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. That makes even more sense that they should approach her without auditioning, especially if they had plans for a Captain Marvel later. Yep.
And that includes Revenge of the Nerds movies. Now, because I say this in jest, I will say that, you know, September is a month where you're supposed to, we're supposed to, as content creators, bring awareness to self-deletion and preventing that, ending your own
Wow, that was not a smooth transition, but okay.
life. And I think that, you know, one thing I thought that was really wholesome is I saw that my Discord had started. Now, obviously, they're not psychiatrists or whatever, psychologists, but my Discord had, on their own volition, created like a mental health area to talk about stuff. I was really moved by that. Of course, my Discord link is in the description of every one of my videos. If you're feeling alone, you know, professional help is always obviously ideal. But there are more ways now to talk to somebody than ever before. And I want you to know that my Discord is open and welcome, a welcoming community to anybody from all walks of life. We have very few rules in there. Just one is don't be a jerk. And that's basically it. So, you know, there are people that care about you, and I care about you. And, you know, stick around. We've got so much more, many more things to roast. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again
That's
real
true.
soon.
I can't leave this world. There are about 80 more Brie Larson videos to watch before Captain Marvel 2 comes out. Oh, Jeremy. Jeremy. Anything else, Jeremy? We're not going to do it anymore. Oh, no. Cardi B destroyed by Candace Owens. Oh, God. Candace Owens did a video on wet-ass P-word. That's a shame. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for today.